Okay, good morning. Hopefully we get some people connecting here live in a moment. Bad lighting here, I should move. I'll move to the office. Let me grab my coffee first. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. A little bit of light. And get myself set up here. Plug in my laptop so it has some power. And we'll see who comes in. I'll send off a message, see if that gets to anybody here. Course options, send message. We are live. So we're live. Put any questions into the Saturday morning. Put any questions on the section 2 Schoology page. Is it the right place? Yes, that's the right place. Join us in the Hangout. And the Hangout address is right here. Okay, we'll see who comes in. I think Rocio said she was going to be here. And Alejandro Parra and Joel were going to watch. See who else responds. I know Lupita said she couldn't make it. Oh, excuse me. Yes, Andy.
I think they're ready to make it.
Okay, I'm busy doing a meeting, okay? You go with your sister and you tell your sister to flip. Tell your sister.
Alex.
So today's all right. So looks like we had some more activity on the submissions this week, so that's really good. I'm happy about that. You got some good conversations going. This week, of course, is learning culture. Had a good conversation with Hartvig. Last Saturday, we got into about this concept of learning culture. And actually, I think part of the problem that we have is students aren't used to having a learning culture, or we're not used to them having this learning culture. We're used to telling them what to remember, what to read, what to watch, what to repeat, what to work on, and then have them submit their answers. I think that's one of the main issues we have here. The things that you're supposed to consider for this week, and the submission again is tonight, but I'm fine if you hand it in later on this week. I give students opportunities to engage in meaningful activities without the teacher being central, so student-centered learning. And I scaffold these activities and make them accessible to all students through differentiation and feedback, where you really want to change the way that the delivery is made to each student. The student does the learning process that fits them best. Could be best as in style, best as in background or interests. We have one viewer. I wonder who's viewing. We'll see if somebody can either comment here on the, there's Arturo Hernandez checking in. Girl is watching, it looks like. So any questions you can post here. Actually, we have a chat that people could join if they're in. And there's a question and answer as well. But it looks like I disabled it, so that was kind of silly of me. Or on the Schoology page. So go ahead and put anything on the Schoology page. It's going to be really boring if it's just me on the video. It's always much more interesting when we've got 2-3 people talking together. On the Schoology page, and I'll link the Schoology page here as well in case you're on the event page and you can't remember what the name of the Schoology page was. There's the link. See if that helps. Let's see who jumps in. I see I have one viewer, so the problem is I don't know who it is. And I'll bring that up here. There we go. Doom. Had a fun talk on Wednesday, but I had to do a talk in Spanish. Well, I should have done it in English, but I'm trying to work on making sure I can deliver the same content with a better tone of voice in Spanish than I have previously. I don't get the right message across in terms of tone when I'm speaking in Spanish about flipped learning. I need to work on that some. So that came out on Wednesday over the Innova TV as well. Should actually give you a link for that. It was videoteca.itesm.mx/charlas. That's videoteca.itesm.mx/charlas is the charlas de innovación that we're doing in the tech. And I talked last week about flipped learning or aprendizaje invertido. So that page should come up and show you. It shows live stream is off air, so I think you have to actually go to Innova. But it's weird that link should actually show the old ones as well. Videoteca.itesm.mx/InnovaTV is another link which shows various projects, not just the charlas de innovación. Hardbig's dependable. He should be here. The other thing I'm considering as well, for those that are interested, is I'd like to start a podcast in Spanish on Flipped Classroom. So I need to go and talk to some colleagues that have more experience in communications. So probably reach out to people here on campus, but definitely want to involve not just folks at tech, but folks outside of tech as well. I want to get some more experience from elementary school education, from secondary school education, as well as high school, since I don't have that background. If anyone's willing to help on that, I'd be ecstatic. See if someone loads up in submission number 2, learning culture. Lots of good submissions here. I actually have to get through. I haven't been able to catch up this week, our exam week, but I hope to get caught up today. I'm watching all of your submissions and reading your submissions on both. Some of you have just submitted number 1, flexible environment. Number 2, the plan was to be due today for learning culture. We've got 4 already submitted. I'm going to take a look at those. Some people have dropped off completely. If you're late to the game, it's still fine to catch up. We'll go at this for another month, so we have the long weekend, which we'll skip. And I don't think if you can find a flexible time during this month, you can definitely catch up and catch up to the rest of us. It's good to have at least 4 or 5 people having conversations in each one of the submissions. So I don't mind the asynchronous mode of people talking. I had a good discussion on Facebook with another colleague that's a leader in flipping, and she talked about the fact that it was frustrating, the course she was taking, because there was supposed to be a conversation between the students. Well, they're all teachers in the course on a forum, and the assignment was the whole week, and she submitted her points of view on the first day as Monday, Tuesday, and nobody else logged in and submitted anything until the Saturday, which is the actual due date. And it's really hard to have a discussion if everyone wants to do it at the last moment. I'm finding this is improving with our group, and it really improved in the summer, to get away from a culture of having to wait to the last second and submit, at the deadline or even after the deadline. The rich part of a course like this, or pretty well any course in my opinion, is the conversations we have around the content. And if nobody's having a conversation, it's just not as interesting. So I encourage you, even if you don't have your submission ready, to jump into the page about each submission and give just a sentence or two, or a thought, or a question to prod the conversation forward. It's a little more difficult if you're not used to an asynchronous forum type communication, but I think it makes the conversations much richer. Go through and look what other people are writing as well. There's Hartvig. He wants an invitation to the conference. Perfect. Let's invite Hartvig and see if he's there. And I'll invite everyone else I have on my list here. So let's see if I can invite Hartvig, and I'll see if Rocio can jump in, and Arturo I know is there. And who else said they were watching? I'll see if I can get them here. Alejandro Para. Let me see if I can get you in here as well, in case you're there and listening and can jump in. Better not. I don't know if that's the right Alejandro Para, because showing a strange image. I'm not sure there's such a common name. It could be anybody. So I got 4 viewers here, so we'll see if anyone wants to get invited. Pocus. So I need to get you into the conversation here, Rocio. You've got multiple personalities, so I'm going to send both invites to you. The Gomez Tagle one and the Gomez Tagle Rankel, you have your Gmail as well as your tech Gmail. I'm going to try to get you in here. And Arturo also has multiple personalities, so this is why I removed my multiple personality. There comes Rocio, I can hear in the background. There we go. I have Rocio, I have Arturo, I think. I think I have your voice, Rocio, but I don't have your video. You have your Gmail as well as your... And turn off the background because it's confusing me. Buenos días.
Hola, es que no me oías ni me veías, pero tengo rato aquí.
I think you were watching the YouTube, but not connected to the Hangout. Because you just got connected to the Hangout right now. I think you were just watching my YouTube, not connecting to the Hangout itself.
I was linked to the URL you sent us yesterday, but I was watching your
Yeah, I need to send you the invite, and then you answer the invite. It's kind of confusing. There's too many options. Turn off the background. There's Arturo, I think. Buenos días. Buenos días. No, that's me hearing me. If you're connected, Arturo or Rocio, close the YouTube mute, because you're going to get like a 20-second delay. Because I'm hearing myself talking to myself again.
I was linked to the URL.
And now I hear Rocio talking again. 30 seconds ago. Yeah, I need to send you the invite. Kind of confusing. Is that your other window, Rocio, or is that Arturo? That's Arturo, I think. Buenos días. Buenos días. No, that's me hearing me. Do you have your connected, Arturo or Rocio? Close the YouTube. Is that your other window, Rocio? Because I'm hearing myself talking to myself again. I'm going to try and get Hartwig again. Oh, there's Hartwig. He's coming in. Now I hear Rocio talking again. Arturo disappeared. Hartwig should be connecting. 3 people is nice. And it's awesome. Kind of confusing. Rocio? No, Rocio or Arturo? Rocio. If you have YouTube open, Rocio or Hartwig. Your other window of Rocio? I'm getting tons of feedback. It could be me watching me multiple times, but I don't think so. Disappeared. Hartwig should be connecting. Oh. Hola, Rocio. Estoy escuchando como doble la conversación. Rocio.
Yo también, sí.
¿Tienes YouTube abierto en otra ventana?
No.
No. Or is Hartwig?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Oh, I lost Rocio. I got Hartwig, but I lost
Okay,
Rocio.
this is Hartwig. Can you hear me?
Good. Let me try to get Rocio back.
Okay.
It's really confusing. Sometimes some people are watching it on the YouTube live or stream, but then when they connect, it creates like a feedback loop, and the YouTube stream is 30 seconds away.
Sí.
There you are. I have you.
No conflict. Sí,
Sounds
que-
like breakfast, Hartwig.
Yes, yes, but not for me. I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
And the dogs are barking, so high life here.
Excellent.
I just
me here. I think
I just changed the angle so that the light comes from the side, so that I look nicer.
Good.
The front light was making me look old, and you know we are all. How do you say that when you want to look good?
I don't know. A
But
better
I already
profile?
you put your stuff out there. It doesn't matter how you look.
I don't care.
Okay, let's see if more people connect. It's kind
Rocio
of
was connected
confusing.
and Arturo was kind of connected, I think, but not really. So I'm trying to see if I can reload this and see if some people are asking questions or connecting. I saw your message saying we're trying to connect, so I got you in. That's good. I lost
I see
Rocio.
something. Rocío Gómez Tagle Rangel se unió a la videollamada. Ah, now you're there.
There she is. Rocio, we see you now. There she is. Oh, and she's got her, oh, I need to be fancy too here. I need to put up my Hangout Toolbox, and I can bring in my, let's see, oh my, tech. There we go. I can bring up my fancy toolbox. There we go. So I can have my name underneath.
Yes.
And then we have Rocio.
I want to have that too.
I'll have to make a video of how to do that. It's pretty easy. It's called the Hangout Toolbox. It's something you add, and then you can just put your picture and your name or whatever you want underneath. It's nice because when you have a recorded video like this, people are wondering, who is that person that's talking now? Oh, we might have Arturo jumping in.
Yeah.
I think Arturo's struggling with his microphone.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Arturo.
All right. Okay, it's working now.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
It's better when we have more people.
Yeah.
Hartwig and I were lonely last.
Yeah.
We're so lonely that well, and it's too bad because I didn't record the week before when it was Rocio and myself and Hartwig and Lupita, and I messed up and I forgot to record. But this time I'm recording.
So be careful what you say.
Oh, I'm never careful what I say. Okay. So Hartwig and I had an interesting discussion last week about system change, about whether we need to have the system change in order to change the way we teach in the classroom, or just forget about that and change our classroom, is kind of what part of the conversation was. And then I was saying how that really leads into learning culture, because and a lot of the pushback, and even I put a link in Facebook yesterday about someone's kind of criticism of flipping, or when not to flip, was that students just aren't used to being responsible for their own learning. So how do we deal with that? I think Rocio went for her coffee. I can see in the back. She has a nice picture on the wall behind her. ¿Todo conectado, Rocio? Ah, here she comes. Headphones. There's Arturo. Yeah. I think Arturo's video won't work, but he might have sound, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Actually, can't see you.
Okay, cool.
I'm here. It's because I needed my headphones.
Yep. Let me delegate one thing for a sec. So I want you guys to talk about, Rocio, your point of view of, and or anyone else to jump in, about how we change this culture. The students just aren't used to learning by themselves, or not learning by themselves, but being responsible for their learning. Andy.
Oh. Okay. Can you listen me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ah, okay. Okay, it's because I'm listening about voices in the other side, but I'm not sure if somebody of you were talking about because it's not clear the conversation. Okay, and I'm having troubles with the video because it's going on and up and down, and now it's black for me. Now it's on once again. So I'm having troubles with the internet connection. But I think that it's going to be. I think that the methodology of flipped learning will help us to change this. All this culture, or to introduce this culture to become to start to be in charge of their own learning, to start this compromise about their own learning. I think it's a situation of time. I think that during time this is going to change. If we introduce this methodology of flipped learning. So, for example, I teach for the Graduate School of Business. For sure, they are worried about their learning, but what they don't have is time to read at home because they are working. They work 8 or 10 hours before they arrive to class. So our classes are at night. So they are worried about their learning. They want to learn. They want to get some new knowledge to apply in their companies and to get this promotion. Right. But I think that during the time, if we introduce this technique of flipped learning, they are going to change their mind, and they will know that this is the new system of education. I don't think that this is going to change one day to the other. I think that we need to give them time, but also it's required that everybody at Tecnológico de Monterrey has this technique. And I can go back more in the new technologies and in the new system of knowledge that is in our environment. 21 hours of class for a graduate school for each class it's just a few hours. It's not enough. They cannot learn after having 10 hours of work in their companies. It's very hard.
Right.
So they need to read at home. It's required. But
Yeah.
if not everybody is using this technique, it's hard for those professors who are applying the flipped learning technique, because you become, or I became the monster of the term that asked a lot of work. They required more than 8 hours per week per class, and they told me, I'm studying 2 classes. Okay,
Right.
yes, you need to study. You are going to study 2 classes, and you need to add 16 hours. And then they
Yep.
said, okay, I have a family. Yes, of course, you
Right.
have a family. You have a girlfriend or boyfriend, but they must know that you are studying a master program,
Right.
and that maybe weekends are not going to be as usual.
And you decided that the program is 8 hours per week. It's not 3 hours per week.
It's not 3 hours per
And
week.
if you can't dedicate the time, you should think about whether you should be doing the program.
Yeah, but that is not the.
But it's a delicate balance. It's like I come to my students and I ask them, why are you here? Why are you in class? Why are you studying this degree? I mean, if you don't want to do the work, why are you? Go wash dishes at Starbucks or something. You've chosen to be here. The other thing that's very delicate, and a lot of people are actually seeing in the link I sent on Facebook yesterday is, well, we all know at least a third of the students in our program, and this is people in the United States saying it, they don't even know why they're here. They're just here because they're studying, because that's the next thing to do after high school. They're not really convinced they want to be studying the program they're studying. And I think we have more of that. We have a lot of students that study that their parents sent them to study, and they don't even know why they're here, even at the undergraduate level.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting at the graduate level, and I want to talk about it more, Rocio, because it is a really delicate balance. There's so many of them that work full-time. And it's not just, put in your time, sit your bum in the seat 5 nights a week or 2 nights a week, and you get a master's degree. No, you have to put your passion into it. You have to say what you're thinking about it. It's not just receiving content. I don't think a master should be like that at all, that where you're just receiving content, and it's not a technical program. It's got to have at least some kind of research component.
It's not a diplomat. It's not executive education where everybody goes.
Exactly. That's the good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
We're not training.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and people just aren't used to that.
And it is the same for the PhD program. Well, many people think that it's a big master program. 4 years master program. It's not a master program. You need to. The PhD
is totally. It's all about you. Even during my PhD, which I didn't finish, but the message from my advisor was, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you. You need to guide your own learning and ask us for help. And you're on your own. You're supposed to be an expert, a worldwide expert about some maybe small piece of information.
Yeah.
But you're the expert. You know more than your advisor about the topic that you're going to write about. And so I don't think we have that culture. I'm curious at the Tech whether part of that is because we don't have, or at least I don't think in any of the programs we have thesis in our undergraduate, which seems to be more of a common thing here in Mexico in the public universities of having a thesis, or even some privates. But I'm not used to that in Canada. But it seems like people don't have this kind of thesis mentality.
And there is another issue in our programs. Well, to all the group, Ken and all the group, and that is that we're not used to teach using problems. We are used to teach using maybe the problems that are in the back of the book, but not problematic situations, a problematic situation that require to be answered by the students and to be solved. So maybe we can start a 12 or 16 weeks class having a problem and develop the solution along these 16 weeks. That is also the kind of teaching we are having. Students, they know that they have the problems at the end of the chapter. They look for the solution in the internet, or maybe the cases, the Harvard business cases. These cases are all of them solved. There is people that post the solution to the cases using the teaching notes. So even for students, it's not so hard to get the solution. And it's very easy to find that or to realize that they didn't solve the case because they have exactly the solution of the author. And then when you are in the interaction in the classroom, well, they don't know what to say. And you ask them, why did you use that number? They don't know. So I think that it's also the kind of methodology of teaching. And my proposal is to use problems, to solve the problems of the society. Not the problems of a company, the problem of a society, a full program.
Right. Trying to get Joel is, I think, watching or maybe watching, but he's behind the Great Firewall of China, and it's kind of hard to get in. And Alejandro Parra's watching, and he's trying to participate, but the problem with one thing you have to do with your Google Plus profiles is you need to put a picture of you or an icon of you or something, because when I try to invite Alejandro Parra, it's an amazingly common name that I'm seeing like 5 or more. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see like, well, Google Plus is being nice and showing me every single person called Alejandro Parra that I don't know. So I was trying to add you, Alex, but I don't want to add some random person I don't know to our conversation.
Make some new friends.
Yeah, we might get some weird conversation going on.
Yeah.
I can see in the see what I do is when I look at the Google page for our Hangout, the Flip Learning PD session, the Hangouts on Air, I can see pictures for, like, see Rocio Gomez-Tagli has her awesome winter jacket in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, and I know that's her. And Arturo, I have his picture, and Joel. But Alex, you just have the default icon of a stick figure. So I don't know who you are when I'm trying to add you. It's a really bad interface. Facebook used to be that way too. When I'd search for a user, it would show me all these people I don't know, and wouldn't show the people that are on my friends list. They fixed that recently. Bad user interface design, which is my other interest. So Hartvig, you've been quiet. I'm trying to see if Arturo looks like he joined again.
Yeah.
Are you there, Arturo? Can you talk?
Hey, Ken, can you hear me?
Awesome. I was just going to post on Facebook that I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
But now I got you. Yeah. Awesome. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm here.
Spanish, English, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Or I make you do it in both, apparently.
Actually, I wanted to comment on the article that you posted.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, which really made me question if flipped classroom was really a good choice, because I hadn't really thought about the fact that depending on the level of education you are studying, you know, we might require different types of training for the students, because I was just listening to what Rocio was saying about the master's degree program, where you would expect students to be responsible for their own learning, and it's not really a matter of I don't know, it's not lack of responsibility really, it's just a lack of time. And if you if we look at the students from the professional level, at some point you would think that just because they are in professional, that would be an excuse or a reason for not having enough time to complete the assignments or to basically study at home, to do their own, to actually use their time to study. But it's not really the level really what makes a difference.
And I don't agree that it's time. I mean, I can sit down with my students and say, let's talk about time. Let's talk about your 168 hours you have every week, and where do you put those hours? I think it's interesting because there's this dichotomy, because we're thinking, okay, so master's students should be more motivated because they're more mature and they should be able to find the time, right? But then the other thing around is we see that they do flip learning in kindergarten, in grade 1, and it works because these students haven't been poisoned. They're used to wanting to learn. I mean, they wake up at 3 years old and they want to learn. Hold on.
Charm's outside and I don't bring the keys.
It's because the keys are in my pocket, I think.
Ah,
There you go, Princess. Yolanda's here looking for her exams.
yeah.
So the part of the thing is these kids, they want to learn. And we
Yeah.
poison them to not want to learn. They just have to follow the instructions all the time. So maybe these master students, they're 20-something years old and they're used to one way of learning. And that's the way they can't change so easy. So it's hard to switch between, you know, is young better or old better? I think it's just a matter of breaking this barrier that people are used to learning.
And also, I wanted to mention that what really made me think was that we really need to spend a lot of time on
How to
teaching
do it.
students how to do it. If you are teaching at a professional level, or if you're teaching at a university,
Andy, that's not safe.
master's degree, it's a matter of, I would say, I don't know, we would think that the flipped classroom is going to happen just like that, but I just realized that we do need to invest more time in training rather than
And that's critical, Arturo.
than doing, because as I mentioned in my post, I remember, you know, just doing the first class with flipped classroom approach, and it all just, you know, went crazy because I hadn't taught my students or hadn't showed them exactly what I expected from them. So I do need that. I do feel that we need to somehow spend a couple of sessions, you know, telling them what they are expected to do in terms of, I don't know, expectations outside the classroom.
Right.
And at least to tell them this is what you are expected to do. I was even thinking about a checklist that I would probably start using next semester, and to show them exactly, you know, whenever we have these lessons, you are responsible for doing this. So like checklist, you know, point number 1, read the material or watch the video or complete a worksheet. And, you know, step number 2, when you come into the classroom, you're expected to do that. And I think that just telling them is not enough. I think that if they actually have something to look at least they will understand that there's some sort of sequence behind a flipped lesson, and that it's not just a matter of, I would like them to think that it's not just doing one more piece of homework or doing homework differently, but is that in order for the success of the class, they need to prepare beforehand. And if they don't, obviously, there will be some consequences during class time. And what I mentioned before was that I have them do part of the work that we're supposed to do at home right there in the classroom, and they are a little behind, and the rest are progressing much faster. But I think it all comes down to investing more time in training them, and if it's not clear, then it just won't work, because it just happened to me, you know. I expected things to happen just like that, and they didn't know what to do. I had some expectations, but they didn't know exactly what they were supposed to do. So I think that some kind of rehearsal will help, or some kind of rehearsal.
I think it's key that what's really cool, Arturo, and you should share this on your blog or wherever, that I think really a key point here is you have expectations of how they're going to consume this content you produce or whatever, and maybe we're just being really not very clear on what our expectations are, and we're assuming a lot there.
I would say the question, trying to get away question of a student is sometimes, I don't understand. I said, I wanted you to read the article, I wanted you to understand the article your way, and then write some smart questions about the article, about the things you didn't understand, or things which popped out for you. And what you gave me is a short resume of the 3 main points of the article.
Because that's what they're used to doing.
Yes.
And they're not used to having an opinion.
Then I tell them again, look, what I wanted you to do is to read the article, understand the article your way, perhaps relate it to your reality, then pop up some important questions or comments, what stuck out for you, and then I don't understand. What do you mean by that? That's the the blocker, I would say. The student has the right to say, I don't understand. I didn't know what the teacher wanted to say. When I say make a resume of the three main points of the article, then oh yes, I will do that. Copy it from the neighbor, because
Right.
most likely the neighbor has the same main 3 points. So
Right.
I think
Those are the 3 right ones. Those are the ones the teacher's looking for. So those are the ones I'm going to put.
yeah. That's I don't know what you mean. What do you want me to do? Your stuff. I want you to do your thing, not my thing. So what my idea is, I think we should what our other participants were saying, Arturo and Rocio. It's very nice. I just moused over here and saw the name. So
This
the
tool's great when you learn how to use it. We get us.
I got my name there. I just learned that. So the question for me is, I have to be upfront, clear. Look, you do this and this, or you will not pass here. I'm paid for providing quality education. You have to do your part, and if you don't do your part, then I can't cross off the boxes. That means critical analysis of this case, or own opinion about this case, being informed about what we are talking about. That's yeah, a precondition. And when you don't do that, you will not pass the course. In distance education, dropout of 1/3 is normal, was always normal. That the 1/3 doesn't show up. When you have a 98% approval rate at the end of an online course, then I ask myself how big your expectations were. Can you hear me loud and clearly, or?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. We're just listening.
No, you made this face, and I thought that was because you couldn't hear the
No,
sound.
I'm sorry. I'm multitasking in the background. I'm trying to get Alejandro in.
Okay. So
I'm being a producer and a participant at the same time. It's confusing.
This is what we said before. I think what I'm mousing over and the name doesn't pop up anymore. Arturo, yes. What Arturo said and what Rocio said. When you're in a master's student program and you said I had no time to do the homework, the perfect answer is then you don't have time to study. Point. Final point. This is important for me for the flipped classroom experience. We have to be demanding with the students. When you don't do the work, you can't participate in class, at least not intelligently. And I will let that pass once, twice, or 3 times, but not all the time.
I would like just to add what you just said, Hardwick. What I've noticed in the few times that I've tried to flip my class, I've actually tried to show the students in a very subtle way that just because they didn't do the work doesn't mean that they can learn. But what I'm trying to send the message to is, if you don't do the work that you were supposed to, you're not going to move as fast as your other classmates are going to. Yeah. So what I do is that I prepare activities for those who prepared for the class and those and material for those who didn't. So what I do is I tell them, since you didn't prepare, so you will go slower and you will have to do more reviewing or more reading, and the other ones who've already done their job, they will be doing more activities, more discussion, more activities that are not so guided. So in a way, I kind of show them the difference for not having done their work, and somehow that I know I've observed that kind of makes them feel bad because they don't look, professional or responsible in the eyes of their classmates. So in a way, they feel that they are being, put on the spot, that they're being punished in a very, subtle way. But I think that it takes time. I've tried that a couple of times, but I still feel that it's not enough. And my point is not making them feel bad, but at least to let them know that if they don't do what they do the way they're supposed to, at least they won't get certain benefits. And in my case, for example, some of the benefits would be having some class time to do something they want to do, something else. Or if it's a few minutes before the class is over, they can leave early, but as long as they demonstrate that they've covered the material. But it's very difficult to just make them understand that there are some consequences, and I don't know. I don't think it's a matter of age. I think it's a matter, again, of
I think trust is an
telling
issue
them.
too,
Yeah.
Arturo.
Yeah.
That they need to trust this, and trust that they can have an opinion, and trust that if they don't get the right answer, it's still okay on their summary of whatever they're watching, because they're so used to but what do you want, teacher? What do you need me to answer so I get the points? And I think it's really hard. They're not used to this because every other class, not every other class, I don't want to say that every other class is classic lecture, fill in the blanks, but they've been so accustomed to it that they don't trust that this is going to actually work for them sometimes.
Yeah, and let me just tell you something funny that happened to me in my last class about 2 weeks ago. I did this flip class when we were trying to learn the passive voice, and I prepared a lot of activities, and the last activity was actually a quiz that they were supposed to do in pairs.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 quizzes. I used one to place them, to separate the 2 groups into the ones that needed more guidance and the ones that didn't need much. And it was funny because the students just kept asking me, how much is this going to affect my grade? Like, whatever I get on the quiz, will that affect my grade for today? And I told them, no, it won't. It's just practice. And they say, so whatever I get doesn't matter? It's like, no, it's just practice. So you will get your points for today's class participation just by doing it, and whatever you get, it will be just feedback for you. But it was amazing to the number of times that I was asked the same question. How many points that we're going to lose if they didn't do well on the quiz, and it just reflects the culture where we live in. It's just because, for example, for those classes, I don't give them the exact points, or the grade doesn't depend on the quiz they take or the result. It's based on the work they do, and the feedback is just that. Feedback is not a number that will affect their grade. So I think that little by little, I'm trying to make them understand that there are some activities where you get the credit just by doing things and not based on the result. And that's helped me a lot.
And that's where I have a lot of activities that are just done or not done.
Yeah,
and there's no measurement level. It's just you did it or you didn't do it, and it's hard for them to get past the point. Okay, then I can just do whatever, and they're going to give me the point. But that's not the point. I want us to share, and I want us to learn, and get past this doing everything for points. Why are you here in school? Are you here to get points, or are you here to learn? I'm here to learn, teacher.
That's the culture
So why do you get upset if it's not worth points? I won't do it. If you just answer me 5 minutes ago, I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
And it's a vicious cycle because we do it on the campus. We go, okay, we need people to show up to some conference that somebody's here, and we're embarrassed because nobody's there. So drag your classes over there, but make it worth points so that people go. And people don't go unless it's worth points. Yours are the same. And Rocio's right. It's a culture. It's not just Mexico. I mean, people are people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a vicious cycle, and I don't know how to get by. I was going to share something. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share something on my screen. I'm going to send you guys the links later. But we talked about a bunch of things here that I wanted to share about how to train students. So are you seeing my webpage now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So the place to go, I mean, Crystal Kirch rocks. It's called Flipping with Kirch. I think I've sent this link before, and I've told a lot of people about it. Crystal Kirch has a bunch of ideas. You got to check out her blog, because the first 2 years when she flipped her classroom, she actually wrote a blog about it. Every single week she has weekly reflections from 11-12 and weekly reflections of 12-13, just pouring out her heart about what worked, what didn't. Awesome reading in your spare time that we don't have. She also has a FAQ here, which is awesome, and it links to this Google Drive doc. I have it open here. Talks about a lot of things. Crystal's amazing. I mean, this level of detail will just blow you away. One thing you want to think about is WSQ for when they're watching the videos or reading content. I do this in my classes, where you want them to watch, you want them to summarize, and this is summarized, not necessarily a question, and then questioning a deep question about the content, and I also tell my students it's not valid to say, oh, I understood everything, I have no questions. Then you have to actually ask a question that some other student who didn't understand. And she talks about the details of how she thinks set up. She uses lots of acronyms. There's this twirls. She wants twirls in her class every day. She wants her students thinking, writing, interacting, reading, listening, speaking. Another thing she talks about, which is related to what Arturo was saying about how to train them to watch these videos or read content, is what she calls fitch and fit, where you need to be focused, serious attitude on the video you're watching, involved in the process. You pause, rewind, you rewatch. H, the last one, is headphones in. Focus on what you're watching and not, watching TV and everything else. Cell phones put away. So these types of things, she advocates it, and a lot of people advocate it about how to do real paying attention when we're either reading or we're watching videos, and a lot of this is coming out that we need to teach our students how to academically read or academically watch videos. Yeah, and here's the WSQ. So you should definitely check out Crystal Kirch's stuff. I'm going to stop screen sharing there. I'll send the links here in our course. But yeah, people have already talked a lot about this. The video by the Flipping Physics guy, John at Flipping Physics, he has a good demo to the kids of this is not how you watch a video that I give you, and he's like sitting back and watching some other show and checking his tablet and his phone while he's watching the video, right? So a lot of this has been done, and I think it's true. We need to really train our students. Troy Cockram, who hosts the Flip Learning podcast, I think he said that the first video they do, he does it with the students inside the classroom and teaches them how to do it, that you can pause, that you can rewind, that you have to be active in what you're doing. So I'll send those links, and people should look at those. Hold on, I need to answer the phone. Bueno. Hola. Pardon? No, I didn't. Okay. Dos frutis de la carton. Just two little balls. Okay. All right. Bye. Sorry.
No
Hard fix,
problem.
trying to reconnect. It's the Saturday juggle. And we all live it. So I definitely need to send you the links. I don't know if I've talked about flipping with Crystal Kirch yet, but Crystal's awesome. And actually, one of the conversations I had with her earlier this week had to do with our course and the fact that as teachers, we're having the same thing. It's getting better now. We've got 4 people connected, and we had 4 people connected the other day. We've got more conversations going in our forum there on Schoology. But we still have a lot of people that are like, okay, when is it due? Oh, it's due Saturday, so I'll work on it Saturday night at 10 p.m. and then I'll submit it. And what that does is it creates a culture of the student sends something to the teacher, and the teacher says if it's right or wrong. Where what we really want in a course like this, and honestly, I think in every course of every level, is a conversation that's a constant thing. It doesn't mean 40 hours a week on my course. It just means check in every day and see what people are saying. And that's why I really like to use social media in my courses, whether it's using Facebook or Twitter or trying to use the platform itself, is creating this learning culture that I'm a student every day, not just the night before the exam, right? And I struggle with that to my students, that you're a student every single day, whether you're at the beach and you see something and wow, that's related to what I'm studying in my class in chemistry or whatever. That you need to have this culture that we're learning all the time. It's not just when you're in the classroom. And little kids are used to that, right? They're learning all the time. Go by a 2-year-old and watch them, what they're doing every day. And they're just sitting there learning, right? So it's some of the things I've been reflecting on a lot lately. And I have to update my blog post one of these days and actually write some of this stuff down.
The question you and me had, Ken, is how close is what we are talking about to a concrete reality we are living? Because all teachers are forced to do certain things. When I stop giving grades, what will happen to me? Give it a good guess. When I
No, I
don't
don't
give,
think you have to stop giving grades, though, Hartwig. I don't agree with that. We can still give grades. It's just how we
no.
grade them. What
The
we grade them
question is
with.
when we want to make it a debate. I think flipped learning doesn't go with grades. It goes with approved, enough, intelligent, smart, creative. What you did furthers your learning, but I don't have to put a number on that. A number is a symbol, and
Oh,
a
yeah. Oh,
symbol with
I agree. I'd love to not give grades, but I'm not going to fight that battle because I'm never going to win that. And it doesn't
okay.
mean I'm going to go, okay, I can't win that battle. I'm going to throw away flipped learning.
No. That's not the question. The question is, you say, I'm throwing this out because I can't win the battle. That's one
Right.
point. I agree to your point. But we are not saying we are throwing this out because it is not useful. It would be useful not to give grades, to give descriptive feedback to the student and say, I think you learned something in this sense, and you are still a little bit away from learning this and that. Your group learning improved in this. I think you are more integrated in the group discussion. I think you are more able to contribute to the common cause goal or to the common group goal. And I think this is a very important learning outcome you are achieving here. Talking about the course content, I think you developed and this and that matter, and I think you are still a little bit away of developing in this and that matter. I think this is the feedback I would like to provide. I am a German teacher, so I would say your oral expression has improved, your pronunciation has improved, you're still a little bit away from using the correct grammar in this and that sense. I would suggest that you read a little bit more this and that, and so on. That's what I would like to do. And then I would free time up for providing this qualitative feedback.
And that's the trick in all of this. There's all these things we want to do, but we got to find and listen to Lupita's message. I think it's the previous one. I was listening to hers the other day, where our courses are just so full. I just don't have time to do all this extra stuff. And I think that's actually one of the things I feel I can give pushback at the system level is I think we over-specify our courses. Like if you look at the plan of study of each one of our courses, they completely specify 48 hours. And there's no flexibility, and they don't even leave time for me to give an exam or innovation week, right? So it's way over-specified the amount of content we put into our courses. I think we should be specifying 30 of the hours, and then the other 15 are depending on what's happening in your group, on the context of your city or your course or your degree. That's one thing I'd like to push back at the planning level of our system. And I tried this 10 years ago when we were doing the 2005 plans, and I failed miserably. But it is a battle I'm trying to fight. But it's not going to change how I'm going to affect my classroom and change the way I grade in my classroom. Each person is different. I know different departments have like heavily rigid, everyone has to give the same exams and the same content. So everyone has their own little battles to make. I have a different battle in my department. And I have a luxury that I can do what I want very often and get away with it. And I don't have a fear of doing something that's not approved either. So that's a different issue for me. And not all teachers have that feeling. Rocio, we've been cutting you out.
No, yeah, I'm listening to all your opinions. I agree with all you're mentioning.
I don't agree. It's more fun when we don't agree.
No, it's exactly the same situation. I think in every campus is exactly the same situation.
Which is good, but it's also frustrating that it's like we're all agreeing, but we're not moving forward, which sometimes frustrates.
For example, we have 12 sessions, but these 12 sessions are full of content, so we don't have time for attending a conference. For example, the beginning of the term conference, all the students complain about that conference. Even that maybe it's very interesting, maybe it's the CFO of a big multinational, an international company. somebody who came from the other day. We had this term, the beginning conference was about the energy reforms. So we had people from the government, the vice president of Alpha in Energy, and the president of another company who are doing shale gas explorations in Mexico and Texas. Well, the students were complaining. I can tell you that the conference was so good, but the students complained because they missed their class, and obviously that content is not going to be analyzed in the next session. They have to study by themselves that session because the next session is scheduled another topic. Yeah. So everybody is complaining. Nobody wants to go to that conference. In my class, in my group, for example, conference finished by 9 p.m. and then we started our class. Yeah. We were there until 11:30 at night. So it's very hard. We don't have time for. We put a lot of information. But I think that is also because all the information must be given in class, not outside. We don't have the sessions of class for discussions. We have the sessions of class for teaching and we do the activity of lecturing. And when we are not lecturing, we feel bad. We must change that. It's a culture. We need to. But my husband says that when the problem is culture, everything is over. But I mean that we need to change the culture, to tell the students we are not going to be here to waste our time. If you don't have anything to discuss, okay, go home and continue your reading and your analysis of the topics. We don't need to have the 3 hours face-to-face session. If you don't have anything to discuss, go home and. Yep. But we are not going to have the people at the institution to support this behavior of telling the students, okay, go home. They're going to ask, you need to be here in 3 hours and a half every week.
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced they're not on board with that. It's just there's so many stakeholders involved here. It's like administration. Yeah, actually, you're right. You're perfectly right, Rocio, but the parents who pay the bills are going to be upset because in some ways they expect us to babysit their children. Mm-hmm. I've said that in meetings before, and I got laughed at, but in essence, a lot of times it is. That's the parents want to make sure that they're here and they're in class and sitting straight, and we see that when we talk about when I've talked to other schools about this as well, and attendance, and it's what do we expect to happen in the schools? Elementary student teachers or teachers will tell you this as well, that their parents think they just need to. It's their job to teach the kids. It's not the parents' job at all. So these are deep-rooted problems.
Yeah.
And we're unfortunately the bad parents. So I always laugh when I go to talk to my kids' teachers and I go, I'm sorry, but we're teachers, so I know we're going to be noisy, and no, that's fine. We like that you say things, because some other parents just don't even care. They're not even there, and you can see it in their kids. And that's a bigger crisis we have. That the parents think that it's the job of the schools to teach their kids, and it's not. It's a societal thing.
Yeah, I think
fun
just
stuff.
To make a positive comment. I think the most important thing for me as a teacher is to offer a straightforward relationship to my students. That means I'm Hartwig Stein. I'm prepared to teach certain things. I have studied pedagogy, but this is pretty much it. I'm a human being, and I'm trying to engage in a responsible relationship with the kids, with the students. I teach many adult students. So it's like, oh, professor, I didn't do that. Calm down, relax. We'll find a solution. We will get out there. We will see how you can make up for that. There are students, oh, I failed the exam. I'm sorry for that. Perhaps you will try better next time. I saw you talking to the class time all the time. I would provide some specific guidance for some very loud students in my German class because they don't listen, they don't make the exercises well, so they can't perform in the exam I'm forced to do, and they get low points. And I say, don't worry, be happy, don't worry, it's not this important. Try to make the best out of it. So, long speech, short sense, this is Mexican say. I want to engage in a personal, friendly relationship with the students I have to teach, so that they get at least something positive out of it.
Right.
That's my idea.
And that's,
my idea of
that's
teaching
awesome.
is engaging in something real, not playing a role, being myself, so that they can connect to something in their learning experience.
Awesome. Anything else to add, folks? We're coming up on 10:10. Next week.
Next week.
Next week we're talking about intentional content. I think it's actually this happened to me in the summer. It took me a week or two to kind of kickstart people. This is a very different way of taking professional development, at least the tech. Experimental. Some people aren't on board at all. There's people that are just not here. Unfortunately, it's because they're busy, they're not used to it, or whatever. But I live for the conversations, and there's people that are actually in this course that aren't even taking it for credit. They're just here because they want to be here. And that's my goal when I give these type of courses. And I made that point to administration want me to come up with a recipe for doing flipped learning, and I tell them there is none. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen, and I'm not going to be able to give someone a book and say, here, do this now, you'll follow these instructions, and you're a better teacher. And it's all about these conversations, and I'm hoping we can get these conversations going. One thing I'll leave out, there's a couple of things I'd like to implement at a higher level. I'd like to try to create a flipped learning podcast in Spanish for the Spanish market. I think that's a longer-term goal, so if anyone's interested, I'd like to get that going. At the tech level, I've been given the green light on. A lot of us complain that the evaluation of the teachers has nothing to do with not just flipped learning, but Tech 21. And they know it, and I've heard this from David Noel Ramirez, and I've heard this from, I don't think I talked to this directly with Salvador, but I've talked about similar things. They know, but so I think we should just crowdsource. Okay, here's what the evaluations are now. How can we change? Which questions need to be removed? Which needs to be added so that we're having an evaluation of teachers that are actually reflective of what Tech 21 is? Our group on campus, we were given the green light to go ahead and create our own evaluation instead of doing the classic one. They were going to use the one we created, but we haven't created one, so I can't keep complaining that you're not using my evaluation because I haven't created it yet. So I think those of us that definitely agree that the way we're evaluated as teachers by our students is wrong, we've been given the light of here, come up with something and we'll use that instead. It's just we haven't done it. Yeah. So I'd like to crowdsource a better evaluation of teachers by our students.
Sorry to interrupt, Ken. I was sent a message, I think it was from Norma Tapia, who is in Mexico City now. And she actually sent, I don't know if you were given this, but she sent what seems to be sort of a draft of the
I know
questions.
They're working on it.
Yeah, so it does show that they're worried about that they're working on it.
Yep.
And I found the questions much more interesting and valuable than the ones we had. Because it really measures teachers' skills and
innovation. And all these things we say we want from a Tech 21 teacher.
Right. So I think it's more aligned towards this Tech 21 profile that they want us to have. But,
we'll have to push the button. We're just not used to sharing system-wide. We tend to share with little groups.
Yeah. I wasn't really sure if I was sent or I was given the chance to give my feedback for the questions.
Probably as the department chair is my guess, Arturo.
Probably, I don't know.
One thing I've been pushing a lot of people that a lot of these conversations shouldn't just stop at department level or career level or whatever. They need to kind of open the floodgates, not publicly, but at least, hey, if you're a teacher and you're concerned about this and you want to give us your input, that's cool. They don't have to take all of our input, but at least I think it's important to give people a voice even if you don't listen to them, because then they feel involved in the process, and I think that's actually really important at a management level. We're being recorded, by the way. Just
All right.
I never say anything I'm not willing to have recorded. But,
No.
Really?
but no, I know they're working on this. It's
so they
not an
are.
easy process, and it's even not an easy process involving teachers because we're not used to this. In the summer, they released all of the video and all of the slides from the FTV event in the summer of the directors, but I guarantee that almost nobody watched them.
I watched them.
I did.
I
And actually,
did.
I went to the thing in the summer, and they repeated, and they played the video that I had already seen on that site. And I said, well, this is silly. This is just a waste of my time. Well, you should have flipped this, and I can watch it before, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But they said, well, but you're weird, Ken. You're like one of the only people who did.
Yes, and that is true because
And it's because we're not used to it. We're not used to having open communication. And I told Salvador Alban, I told David Noel, and David Garza, I said, thank you for releasing that information because this is different. This is not something we've normally done in the tech, and it's great.
Can I throw in one more thought? The culture, Paulo Freire, author of Brazil, he calls that the culture of silencing.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? To make people silent.
Right.
I say that happened once to me at another university. I will not say which one. There was a big process going on getting information what the teachers want. And it was a big conference. There were people there in the front who were taking notes. And I raised my hand and said, why shouldn't we make this university more democratic? That means the university administration should do more what the teachers want, what the students want. We should have a culture of getting opinions from the people, gather them, and then find out what they want. The answer was, thank you. Next
Thank
comment.
you for your input. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for your input. She didn't write anything down. She didn't further my thought. She didn't make a question. She just said, thank you, and went on. Now, I tell you, this is very efficient that people don't speak up anymore. Because it doesn't matter.
And this is where I think I think our system is pushing that direction. But what bothers me is when some colleagues complain about not being heard, but they don't speak.
Already silenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pre-silenced. They an attitude of, well, I'm not going to say anything because no one's going to listen to me. And I think that's a hard battle for us to win at the administrative level too. Is people are not used to speaking up. And lots of times I've spoken up. Other colleagues have said, oh, but this is being recorded. And I don't care. I'm raising my voice because it's important. And I've had the administration come to me. Salvador Alba came to me and said, thank you for raising your voice and saying what you think. Because he wants it. He says that in his messages. It's maybe just people aren't used to that it's what he means. Yeah. And so it is a changing culture, and I think it's great. Yeah. So these conversations are awesome. But it's like 10:15 and I have to go because I have to take kids to catechism.
Yeah. All right. It was great talking to you.
Awesome. I hope we can make this again next week, or at least some of us. Mm-hmm. And I know Alejandro wanted to get in, so we'll try to rig him in. I want to reach 10 people connected at the same time because the conversation is so much better when there's just more than just me, especially.
But we were listening.
What I'll do for the recording actually is it wasn't so much dead air. Last week was a whole bunch of dead air before I got Hartbig in. But what I do is I'll just jump forward to minute 19 or wherever the actual action happens because I can't edit this video. Once I hit stop, it'll record it and it'll be there forever. But I'll just note, jump ahead to minute whatever where the actual conversation starts because there's probably about 10 minutes of dead air there.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. So jump in and continue. I know Joel's watching us. I'm pretty sure Alejandro's watching us. Thanks for coming and watching. And jump in the forums and post your thoughts. Don't wait till you're finished. This is the one thing I really want to push. Don't wait till you're finished something. Put a comment in the beginning and say, this is what I'm thinking about, or this is what I think about what Hartwig said or Rocio said. The conversations is more important than the final product. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Have an awesome weekend.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Have a nice weekend.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.